Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Ebola and race, that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. One of the big dividers in American society is race, not bigotry so much. Almost all sane Americans accept and understand bigotry is wrong. As the Declaration says, all men are created equal and should be treated equally by their fellow citizens in government. The problem with race is how it is used in policy. Racial politics has created the grievance industry, where some minority people and their white enablers believe they should be compensated for historical abuses. Some Americans also believe they should get money, direct payments or subsidies, reparations, it is called. There are others who say because of slavery and the forced removal of Native Americans from their land, that they cannot compete in today's marketplace. Therefore, they want stuff. That is the white privilege movement. That's especially troubling because it is being pushed primarily by white liberals who feel guilty that some minorities are not succeeding in America. Therefore, they believe those minorities are victims who cannot compete and must be treated as children and granted blanket dispensations for irresponsible behavior. All of the above is corrosive to minorities and to American society in general. Enter the Ebola controversy. It's now been established that 3 black nations in Africa, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia, are ground zero for the spread of the deadly disease. 14 other African nations have now banned West Africans in the Ebola zone from entering their countries. And 14 other nations have other travel restrictions. But when Talking Points and others suggest the USA do the same thing, we're attacked as racist by pathetic ideological loons who could not care less about protecting the folks. This is a public health issue, a safety issue, not a racial issue. Ebola knows no color. But the fact is that a Liberian national, Thomas Duncan, started the Ebola mess in America by lying to immigration authorities. Mr. Duncan paid for that with his life, and his case has embarrassed American health officials. So today, President Obama appointed a political guy, Ron Klain, to be his, quote, Ebola czar.
It may make sense for us to have one person, in part just so that after this initial surge of activity, we can have a more regular process just to make sure that we're crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's going forward.
The appointment of Mr. Klain, former Chief of Staff to Vice President Biden, will take the pressure off the besieged Dr. Thomas Frieden, head of the CDC, who has mucked things up big time. But a core issue remains. Will President Obama protect the American people by stopping travelers from the Ebola epidemic area?
I don't have a philosophical objection necessarily to a travel ban if that is the thing that is going to keep the American people safe. The problem is that in all the discussions I've had thus far with experts in the field, experts in infectious disease, is that a travel ban is less effective than the measures that we are currently instituting.
It doesn't matter, Mr. President. You do everything you can to protect Americans. This is not a comparative situation. You do it all. Talking Points predicts if there is one more Ebola case in the USA, a travel ban will have to be imposed. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, Fox News media reporter Howard Kurtz criticizing some of the Ebola coverage. Mr. Kurtz joins us now. You see him Sundays at 11 a.m. on Media Buzz. So what is your beef, Howard?
My beef is with the breathless, relentless, overheated coverage with too many headlines using the word panic when it's our business that is helping to spread the panic. I mean, live video of the car carrying the nurse to the airport before she's flown to NIH, and this whole media ritual, I know you feel strongly about this, Bill, of calling for Thomas Frieden's scalp at CDC. That's because on complicated stories, we need to create a piñata, and then that person gets the boot, and we feel like we've accomplished something, but it's symbolism. It doesn't bring us any closer to solving the problem.
Do you not believe that performance, especially in life and death situations, is imperative? Do you not believe that?
I do believe that performance is very important, and I think Frieden has done a very mediocre job.
All right, so then what's your beef about getting rid of the guy? We don't, in a life-death situation, you don't need a mediocre person in charge, Howard. You know it, I know it, and everybody watching knows it.
Right, but we went through the VA scandal, we went through the Secret Service scandal, and those people who ran those agencies were forced out, and the media moved on, and it didn't solve the underlying problems. This is bigger than the CDC. If you haven't checked,
he's still in charge of the CDC. Now, to cover his butt, President Obama appoints this new guy who doesn't know anything about health matters, but he's a spinner. He's the spinner. He's going to get what the White House wants out there, Klain. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I don't know Mr. Klain, okay? But he's going to be the mouthpiece, not Frieden, because Frieden can't explain whether you can catch Ebola on a bus or not. Did you catch that yesterday, Howard? Did you catch it?
I did, and it was interesting. Interesting. The president last night, you showed the clip, said he was going to consider appointing a czar. He obviously already decided to appoint
and
Klain.
why did he decide to do it? Because Frieden's screwing up. But get back to Frieden. You say guys like me are making him a villain, and this doesn't solve the problem. He couldn't explain Frieden. Frieden couldn't explain whether you get it on a bus or not, Howard. That's what creates panic, not foolish, over-the-top reporting. And I agree there's some of that, but I don't think it's epidemic. Pardon the pun.
I don't have any problem if Frieden is fired tomorrow, but interestingly, when the president talked about his not having a philosophical objection to a travel ban, that is the sound of a politician retreating, Bill, under the pressure.
Of course he's retreating. He knows he's wrong. I mean, they can't explain why there is no travel ban. And he goes, well, it's not as effective as, hey, you don't have to do anything else. Just throw that in the mix. Do all the other things. You're screening at the airports. Oh, I know those guys are going to pick up Ebola. You know they are too, Howard. Those guys with no medical training out at the airport. Oh, hey, there's one. Come on over here. That's insane, all right?
The administration is going to cave. The administration is going to cave on this sooner rather than later with the midterm elections 2.5 weeks away. And
but
let's go back to your talking points.
The fact that they haven't shows their mindset about protecting the people. You do everything you can. The African nations have it. They know, and therefore you can't come in there if you're from the epidemic areas. And Europe, now we have Spain and France looking at people. They'll do the same thing. But they should have done it a long time ago, Howard.
It's definitely a slow reaction, and I agree with your talking points on keeping race out of this debate. Now, some commentators on the left have, suggested, implied that those who are calling for a travel ban are racist, but there have been a few commentators on the right who've said, well, a black president doesn't want a travel ban because he has an affinity for Africa. They're throwing kerosene on the fire. They should just stop it. This is about saving lives.
All right, but, I mean, that every issue is racial, every single issue. I mean, it's just... Well, look, they're paying a huge price over there at MSNBC for doing that. You know that. Anybody who can look at the Nielsen ratings knows the huge price they're paying for peddling in that garbage, and they deserve to pay it.
But don't you agree with me? Don't you agree with me that this is being covered as if it was already an epidemic raging across the United States?
Some people do it, but not the serious people, Howard. We don't do it here. I don't think CNN has done it. Yeah, they had the little car go into the hospital. Doesn't offend me.
The volume is deafening.
Doesn't offend me. People are interested in the story. All right. Howard Kurtz, everybody. Check him out on Sunday mornings. Next on The Rundown.